This is one of the ultimates. I love the balance of the flavors. It's sweet, but it's also tangy. It's a little kick of chili powder in there as well. Prawn pad thai at its very best. Guys, this is the version that I want to show you how to make. So let's make proper pad thai. So good. So back here in the kitchen, what do we need to do to nail the perfect pad thai? Well, there's 3 things in my opinion. 1, the noodles, 2, the sauce, and 3, the cooking technique. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to pretend that you and I are out shopping together in an Asian grocery store, and I'm going to run you through all of the ingredients we need to make a very traditional style of pad thai. Now, you guys know I'm not always traditional about things, and I will be giving you some substitutes for ingredients that I think might be a bit difficult for you to find. But first of all, let's just start off with something very simple, the noodles. So if you're here in Bangkok, you're most likely going to see this type of noodle being used in a street cart or in a restaurant. This is a fresh type of rice stick noodle which is widely available here. It's ready to go, throw it straight in the pan and it will start to soften and absorb the sauce. But if you're outside of Thailand, you're most likely not going to get that type of noodle. This is the type of noodle you're going to get, which is a dried rice stick noodle. There's nothing wrong with the dried noodles. It just takes a little bit of technique to get the perfect springy texture. So to do that, what I like to do to start with is soak the noodles room temperature water for 30 minutes. If after the 30 minutes your noodles look like this, very pliable, you can see they're really nice and loose, then this is the type of noodle that you can actually try to do the technique where you throw it into the pan and stir fry and absorb the noodle sauce. That's going to give you a really good pad thai noodle. If your noodles look more like this after soaking, as in they're still a little firm and stiff, then I think you need to do the backup technique. Now, you've seen this technique in a lot of my videos where I soak the noodle first and then do a really quick boil, like 1 to 2 minutes before I stir fry. The soaking's still important because it does help with a better texture, but this kind of like thicker noodle which hasn't softened after soaking, that's not going to cook in the pan. So you can either go 2 ways here. You can go the street food way if your noodles will allow it, or if you want to give yourself a little bit of a safety barrier and you're not quite sure if you've got the right noodles, then I would do the boil method. Up to you. Either way, you're going to have a great pad thai, trust me. This one here is tamarind in its rawest form, so straight out of the pod. This one is one that I made earlier, and this one is probably your most convenient. So it is concentrated tamarind paste. Sometimes it's called tamarind puree, tamarind concentrate, but if you want to make it from scratch, let me show you. So your raw tamarind goes into a bowl, just need some warm water, squish it around, and you're basically just loosening all of the tamarind pulp that's stuck to the seeds and twiggy bits. And if I keep squeezing, we're left with this thick tamarind puree. Let's take some of those seeds out. So here we have the tamarind puree made from scratch, and to be honest, I'm typically using the ready-made jar or bottle because it's just a bit easier. But if you want to go the whole way, feel free to. You know how to do it now. Another ingredient that is really great if you can get a hold of it for a traditional pad thai is garlic chives or Chinese chives. They almost look like spring onions, but they do have a more garlicky kind of flavor, hence the name garlic chives, I suppose. If you can't get a hold of these, you can use spring onion. I do often do that when I'm at home in Australia, but these are great if you can get a hold of them at your Asian grocery store. And the Asian grocery store ingredients continue here with pickled radish. Thai pickled radish sometimes comes in bags like this or in like sort of jars or plastic tubs. Tangy, salty, pickled flavor. Oh, like that really sour flavor, like pickled flavor, which is really great. If you can't get a hold of this, so what can you substitute? Nothing really. For me, it's like really essential for a traditional pad thai, and I find that it's widely available in a lot of Asian grocery stores, or you can search it out online. So Thai pickled radish. So we're not finished yet. I've got palm sugar here as well, which can come in this soft form or in a rock form. And I also have my red Asian shallots. Now in Australia, I often find these difficult to find, so I will use a French eschalot or red onion. Both really good substitutes here. Okay, so you've done the shopping, we're ready to go. Let's make the sauce. Now I'm going really old school here. I'm going to use pork lard, yes, pork fat, to start off my sauce. This gives it a lot of depth of flavor and savoriness. You could just use a little bit of oil if you would like also. When your saucepan is hot, add in your shallots and the dried shrimp. Now, dried shrimp can vary from this very fine, thin sort of style of dried shrimp to a very thick dried shrimp. If your dried shrimp is really thick, then you might need to soak those and chop them up before you add them in. Just have a look at what you're getting when you go to your Asian grocery store. Now you want to sizzle your ingredients here for like 3 or 4 minutes or so, just until the onion is soft and sweet but not burnt or going too brown. Once that's happened, then you can add in your palm sugar, your tamarind, fish sauce, a little bit of extra white sugar here for some sweetness. Stir everything together and then turn the heat down and let it gently bubble away until that sugar has dissolved and your sauce is beautifully glossy. So this is what your sauce should look like. You will probably have more sauce than you need for this one recipe, which serves 2, but I mean, you can keep it in the fridge for up to a week, and who doesn't want pad thai twice in 1 week? All right, let's get started. Now we're ready to actually stir fry. So I'm gonna add some pork lard. Again, I'm using the traditional pork fat here into a hot wok, and then I can add in my prawns. You could do chicken here as well if you want to. Just toss them around until they're sort of almost cooked. Then I'm gonna throw in my tofu and give that a stir fry until the tofu is starting to turn just a little bit golden. And now let's do the eggs. So push everything to the side of the wok. Just whisk your eggs lightly, and then a little bit more fat or oil in the side of the wok. Pour the eggs in, swirl them around, and just kind of push them so that they make a nice, flat, thin omelette on the base of your wok. Once that omelette has settled and kind of cooked for a minute or 2, then you can break it up with your spatula, and then in goes my pickled radish. The all-important pickled radish that gives you that really authentic, tangy pad thai flavor. Keep stir frying that just for another half a minute or so and mix it through the rest of the ingredients. So now we're here with the noodles. So I'm gonna take my noodles straight out of the water and toss them straight into my wok. I'm gonna get some sauce in here and then a little bit of water around the side of the wok. That's gonna help the noodles cook through. And now you just keep tossing and swirling your noodles around until they're beautifully tender. A few more fresh chives here so I get that nice fresh garlic chive flavor. Toss all of that around, a few bean shoots as well. And then your pad thai should be looking gloriously beautiful, just like this. Now we're almost there. There is some final plating bits and pieces that happen right at the end here. Bean shoots, some extra bits, some garlic chives and roasted peanuts. A little sprinkling of chili powder so you can mix that in to your heart's content, and a wedge of lime. So there you go, friends. A very traditional recipe for pad thai. It's not the only recipe, but it is one that is quite traditional in terms of its flavor and the ingredients used. How do we eat this? Let me show you. A little bit of lime juice, get some of that chili powder in there. Good pad thai. It's just one of those things that makes me so happy. I love the flavors here, like the balance is so beautiful, the sweetness plus the sour tamarind. Oh, so good. Yum. I really hope you guys give this one a try.